All right, good afternoon, everybody. All right, so, we've already gotten started on our opponent this week, reviewing the film. Kind of like we talked about after the game the other night, just thought a lot of culture and execution is what showed up on tape. Really proud of the progress of our team, the fact that there's been such a change in our physicality up front on both sides of the ball, and that everybody really focused on doing their job and not pressing just to go out there and make a play. Sometimes when you do that, you get out of sorts a little bit. And for the most part, guys were doing their job and on point with it, and led to guys making a lot of plays. So, but that being said, I'll focus on Virginia, coming off a big win this past weekend. They got a lot of good players, a lot of speed on the field, and very disruptive on defense. They do a bunch up front. They present some challenges. Good practice this morning, and questions, please.
Was that game the best showing of physicality you've seen since you've been back here, considering level of opponent and the performance? Is that what you want it to look like?
I think that's something maybe at the end of the year you really look at and draw comparisons, but it's a major step when you look at rushing totals. When it's that lopsided, 211, 30. When you look at pressures on the quarterback, I believe we pressured him 18 out of 34 with 5 sacks, and I think we had 2 or 3 pressures, maybe more, maybe a 4th one, but no sacks. You feel really good about that progress, and we matched up against some really good players. So just a lot of hard work and development. I think style of play came into play also. I think our Tuesday, Wednesday practice sessions also showed up as well. Things that we work on a lot showed up as well. So certainly excited about the progress, and truth of the matter is there's a lot of improvement to be made, and we attacked those things right away on film, without any, no sensitivity, nothing but betterment in mind.
It's not an easy situation for a true freshman quarterback to make his first career start against that defense. Your take on how Emory Williams played and how a performance like that can help his development?
Oh, I thought he was excellent. I do, and I think we all know, I know it sounds like a broken record. If that's your first start, there's going to be a speed adjustment. It's just going to happen a little bit faster. Things are going to move just a little bit crazier than what you can provide. But we do practice a lot of good on good during the season, so he does get a lot of speed on speed. But he went through his progressions extremely well. He articulated the play calls, because we were a huddle operation for the most part. When we didn't huddle, he was able to communicate very well as well. There was no communication issue. He was very decisive. He got some balls batted earlier. I think as a freshman and quarterback, sometimes you don't find that throwing lane. And I thought as the game went on, he got really comfortable. I thought he started really settling in and made some big throws. Certainly that 3rd down shot to Kobe. That's a big-time throw and a big-time route, big-time catch on a 3rd down and must-have-it situation. So very pleased with his performance, and I know all his teammates were really excited for him. You saw Tyler's emotion on the sideline, towards him and congratulating him. So really good job by him.
And on that note with Tyler, how instrumental was he in a short period of time, just kind of helping Emory be ready for that moment?
He was excellent. He's a great mentor. I know Emory really looks up to him. Just helping him learn. Again, it was a new offense for everybody, but just Tyler's experience and football at the college level requires a certain level of understanding, and Tyler has been instrumental in helping Emory along with that.
All right, you said, I think, at the end of the post-game press conference the other night, Tyler would continue to get evaluated, you'd have more data on next couple days. What more have you learned about his injury status for this coming week?
Yeah, he's good to go. That's what I can tell you. I think last week was, again, caught us off guard. I know on game day, people look out there and say, whoa, wait a second. But it caught us off guard during the week, and sometimes, he doesn't have anything that's serious, but if it takes a certain turn, it could delay you, and that's really what ended up happening. And we're in a good place right now, and everything was back to normal today's practice.
And then is there any kind of updated timeline or status update on the key member? We've obviously been out for a little while now.
He's been out for a little while. I can tell you, Nigel will be out probably the rest of the season. Okay, his is a little bit more significant. Akeem is, I feel like he's close. I feel like maybe not ready to comment completely on him right now. We do have some evaluations today, later today, and then another one later this week. I mean, we're doing a lot of stuff with him, so I think we're close, but we also want to just keep the confidentiality of his situation, and also just not fully having a complete, like, just knowledge of where it's at to make a comment, so.
How about Trevante Citizen and his road back?
Yeah, he's close, you know, he is. And he's repping Indy. He is due for some work, some teamwork this week. He's doing all the running, all the cuts, all the drills. Is due for some contact this week as well. And, you know, we're very careful about that stuff. I mean, his was a very significant injury. There was a lot that went on there. And then he had a setback, you know, during his recovery process. He looks great. I mean, he's at that point where you can't tell he had an injury, you know? So now it's a matter of confidence. Now it's a matter of not so much physical, I would say rehabilitation as it is mental, making sure that he feels confident enough and that he can play fast enough to really not subject himself to, you know, any type of injury situation.
What can he add skill set wise?
Big, powerful guy, you know, and he's a put a foot in the ground and go guy as well. I mean, he's got legitimate speed for a guy his size. He can make you miss. He's got great hands, excellent in protection. He's an every down back.
When you watch the tape, how impressed were you by the performance of Shannon Dawson, considering the circumstances he was under with managing on Saturday?
No, I think we mentioned it before, Shannon, he did a great job. That's hard. That's hard. I mean, that's a top 10 defense, right? We've had, I think we faced 2 top 10 defenses this year, and both with, you know, with a veteran quarterback and another one with a brand new quarterback in his first start. And, you know, to be able to call it and still put yourself in a situation to win in 2 very different games, very, very different games, and knowing what we had to do to play complementary football against Clemson's offense and whatnot, that's an art, you know, and he did a masterful job of it. You know, I think we gobbled up over 13 minutes in the fourth quarter, 9+ in the third, and the play count at the end ended up just about even, right, 70 and 70. Just goes to show you how important it was to have that type of time of possession and still keep the sticks moving at that point in the game.
Do you feel like that possession showed up in overtime?
Without a doubt, you know, it was a factor in us getting there, you know, so.
Parrish, I guess that was the first game he missed. What's his situation?
He did good to go. We thought he was ready to play. You know, Tyler was almost ready to play, but it was okay. He hasn't really gotten, you know, enough reps to be there. Henry was starting to get some reps and he was about there, but not enough reps to think that he was going to be in better position to help us win than the other guys that got all the reps. So he's back full go.
Mario, now Nigel out for the rest of the year, Akeem having been out, how crucial, how clutch has it been to have Ruben Bane step up and, you know, play the way he's playing? How many freshmen have you seen over years of coaching who've been able to come in and play at this level so quickly?
Yeah, it's you know, he's unique. You know, he's done, and the thing is, he's doing it with power also. It's not like it's just a speed guy or a guy that comes in situationally. He's doing it on an every down basis, and his play count is probably the highest on the defensive line. So conditioning is in there as well. So he's been able to put veteran-like numbers and high-end veteran-like numbers as a true freshman, and doing the dirty work too now. You know, jumping in there and getting in the A gap sometimes when he's called to do so, and rushing the edge and taking on tight ends and tackles and chip blocks as well. So no, he's been incredible, and he just goes. You know, doesn't say much. Just focus on playing great football, and he's impacted the team not only as a player but also as a leader and as a person.
Mario, over the overtime situation, I know you had against Virginia the 4 overtimes last year. Does it help at all, you know, to have already gone through that, or how does it help? And what was the process like for you guys? You know, it's game experience is always most important.
Yeah, I mean, you work all those scenarios: 4-minute, 2-minute overtime. I think what comes into play there is, your red zone planning. Obviously, you're playing red zone football, right? And then also your conditioning, what you've done since January all the way up until there. And then again, what are you doing in practice? It's now week 6, 7, 8 for a lot of people, some 9 that played week 0, I believe. And so what's going to show up during that time, right? Because it's hard to run the ball in the red zone. It's hard to throw the ball, right? Because of the width and space to defend. So do I feel like we have an advantage? I feel like psychologically we're very confident, but credit to them. That's an excellent football team we played. I mean, that is as talented as a team as you'll see. So all in all, just really proud of our guys because whatever we talked about and everything we worked on, it actually showed up, right? We protected the football and we took away the football. And that has been, it's always been as big of a stat line as you can imagine as it relates to winning and losing.
Also, as Paulo, Rashard Smith is having a good season. In what ways does he make it difficult for opponents to game plan, and what challenges does he present, and what does he add to your offense and special teams?
Well, he does it all. You saw him play some running back. You saw him play slot. He plays outside. He's on every special teams. He's a returner. He's broken some monster kickoff returns as well. He's a punt returner as well. We'll probably use him back there in a little bit also. So he could handle a lot. He's like a piece of iron. He just doesn't break. He can just go forever. He's built that way. He's over 200 pounds. Just so natural as a football player. An awesome human being, I'm all over him. I'm a pain in his neck because I just feel that sky's the limit for him, and it's my obligation to make sure he leaves here absolutely elite. So I'm always on him. I think he appreciates it. I'm sure it makes him mad all the time, but he really is an explosive football player. And so he's worked himself in a position where we've created stuff for him, as well as he's part of the natural game plan.
After watching the tape, what were some of the biggest differences week over week in the run defense improving?
Well, we tried a couple different things structurally, and I think that showed. I think we did our job. That was a theme, and the guys will tell you, and everyone did their job, and they did it well. They did it fast. They did it with power. They did it with physicality, and played with a lot of effort. Really took on the attitude of, it's got to be this way. It's got to be a will not be denied attitude on every single play, whether it works out your way or not. So structurally, we threw in some things. Aside from that, we elevated our level of play. We played to a standard that, we need to keep improving upon. And certainly, we need to build upon that.
Mara, the would-be, I thought it looked like a safety, but that officials reviewed and confirmed their original decision. Have you asked the ACC for any clarification on that? And any thoughts on that? Or why did they tell you that they didn't call a safety?
If I could break this, I would. Next question.
Do they explain to you, let's say, when the situation, can you ask them why did you confirm it?
We're awaiting a response.
Emory's now sitting at 4 games. Does that change anything with approaching red shirts?
No. Well, I don't think so. I think the day and age of redshirting is, there's a transfer portal, there's injuries, there's 3 and dones. If you can help a team and play, you play. If you bring value to a team, to waste someone on meaningless downs, no. If you're playing special teams, that's ultra valuable because you're one step closer to being a full-time player on offense and defense. The training of the speed of the game, angles, leverage, understanding concepts, special teams is far and away the best way to acclimate players. I know Emory's a different situation, but he just started a game. That's obviously the most value, right? You get out of that, but he's ready to go, and all systems go.
What stands out about Virginia, just looking at them?
Well, watching them up front, number one, they bring a lot of pressure. They're anywhere 36, 40% pressure. They're disruptive up front because they'll run a lot of stunts, but not only on third down, I mean, on first and second down to try to disrupt your run game. A lot of TEs, ETs, double TEs, which is something we haven't seen yet. You know, the America's Blitz, you know, field missile, bring the Sam and the Mike and the Will respectively, depending what part of the field you're on. They involve their secondary in pressures as well. They've got a really nice menu of pressures on third down. They're exotic, and you had to. We put in already extra time into all that stuff, knowing that third down they really made it difficult for North Carolina last week. You know, forced some high balls, forced an interception at the end. It actually was a quarterback hit to seal the game with an interception. And but they're really stout up front. Their linebackers can absolutely roll. They're great tacklers on the back end with a lot of speed. I think their offense, they're just gelling. I mean, they're making explosive plays all over the place. They're hard to cover. They run really hard. They've done a lot of work on their offensive line, you could tell, because just the way they fit their combination blocks, the way they communicate, they're just in sync. And they operate at a very high level this past week.
Mario, is there anything to like playing a team, it's coming off a big win like that, because I'm sure they were not feeling great about themselves entering that game, having only one game before that. Is there anything to playing a team, coming off a big win, either in a positive way for them, where they have more confidence, or in a negative potential way, in that they're probably not feeling full of themselves, but like, you know, a letdown kind of thing? Is there anything to that?
I think for 150 years, everybody's been trying to figure that out. And if you feel like if you watch college football, you get a different result and a different dynamic, right, depending on what you watch. And it keeps coming down to what's going on between the ears, you know, what's going on upstairs. You know, where is that mind? What is the mindset of the football team? You know, are you unified? Are you willing to fight through the tough times? Are you willing to take a shot right in the nose and be able to just keep getting up and up until it turns your way? Because, you know, we just had to do that, right? We got faced with that, and they were facing that, and they did it, you know? So there's tangible evidence, right? There's film and proof that they are a team that is very capable of playing at a high level, and they did that. So, which is great for our guys to realize that, because probably one of the hardest things to convince players in coaching college football for whatever years is that everybody has good players. Everybody has really good players, you know, in some way, shape, or form. Some have a ton of good players. But if you walk into a game thinking that you're going to do well because you're better or they don't have good players, you're out of your mind. And this doesn't relate to who we're playing. This relates to just college football in general. And that's why I think you see, you know, some of the, you know, they're called upsets, but it's really who played better that day. It's not the best team, right? It's who plays best. And so whatever goes on between the ears has got to be the priority. You know, it is for us on a week-by-week basis.
And then, I mean, obviously they're the opponent this week. You're focused on beating them, but after everything they went through last year, are you happy for them that they were able to have this kind of nice moment, you know, a joyous event for themselves?
We are. We know, and we're setting up, you know, some stuff that's it's really important to us. You know, Gulliver's right down the road. You know, and you know, I can you imagine as a parent? You know, man, that's tough stuff. So we're certainly going to do everything we can to honor them. You know.
Don Cheney, I know when you mentioned something this morning, you got nicked up towards the end of the game. How is he doing? And I have a follow-up on another player.
He's doing well. You know, he's doing well. He, you know, he got up. He ended up getting back in the game, but you know, he got up really slowly. You know, so it was concerning at the time. But we feel like he's in a good place right now.
And then the other thing is just Kobe Young has had some nice contested catches recently. And any comments on him and his progression?
Best thing he did was after that ball was knocked out of his hands, get right back up, the dig route, the jump ball, you know, the underthrown fade. That guy is, I mean, he's a machine. That guy just works. He is unbreakable, you know. He fights through injury. He fights through nagging stuff, always a positive attitude. We got to slow him down during the week because his GPS numbers are so high. We don't want him to just use up all the gas in the tank before the game comes around. He's that kind of guy. I mean, we are super fortunate to have Kobe Young in this program.
I think last week the O-line was nominated for the Joe Moore Award. I would assume every O-line group's different, and it's only been 7 games this year, but What do you like about this group, this O-line group that you guys have this year?
They're legitimate, hardworking, tough, resilient, accountable, physical, smart, cohesive human beings that are team first guys. They want to see the team win. They're willing to do it. They all think they're super athletes. That's the only thing that's, they all think they should have the ball or play where they get the ball, which, we're not doing that. But they've got great personality. They're natural leaders by what they do and whatever comes out of their mouth by example. Those guys are a lot of fun to be around, and the culture of that room just gets better and better and better. Coach Mirabal, just done an awesome job. Coach Pat was with him earlier. He's now working more with the defense, but Coach Reggie Bane and Ryan Walk, who we had brought also from Oregon. Those guys just do an unbelievable job with that group, and they make it fun, man. They make it fun because they go. Okay. All right, guys. Thank you.